Machiavelli warned us 500 years ago. The moment you rise, someone below you starts plotting your fall. He wasn't being cynical. He was being honest. And that honesty is exactly what nobody wants to hear today. Not every person who resents you was wronged by you. Some people despise you for a much colder reason: your existence is a mirror, and they cannot stand what it reflects back at them. Machiavelli understood this better than any philosopher who came after him. He knew that weak men do not attack you out of justice. They attack you out of comparison. He spent his life studying power, not the loud kind that sits on a throne, but the quiet kind that lives in a person's composure. And he noticed something almost every historian after him ignored. The people who resent you most are rarely your enemies. They're the ones who lost to a version of themselves they never became. Today, we break down 7 silent behaviors of people who secretly resent you, decoded through the cold, calculating lens of Machiavellian thinking. Stay until the end, because the 7th one is the exact moment their entire power over you disappears. 1. They fear your composure. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must never let his enemies see fear in his eyes. What he didn't say out loud but clearly believed is that composure itself becomes a weapon. Not because you're trying to intimidate anyone, simply because stillness is rare, and rare things unsettle people who have never mastered themselves. Weak people cannot bear this same stillness in you. Your calm is not passive to them. It is a threat, because chaos lives inside them, and your composure exposes exactly how little control they have over their own minds. They were never competing against you. They were competing against the version of themselves they never became and losing. Machiavelli believed that a man who cannot rule his own emotions has no business ruling anything else. And deep down, insecure people know this about themselves. They see your calm and instinctively understand, this person has already won something I haven't. Jealousy rarely announces itself. It disguises itself as criticism. It hides behind sentences like "must be nice" or "you think you're better than everyone." It hides behind eye rolls in meetings, behind cold shoulders at family dinners, behind sudden distance from people who used to call you their closest friend. None of it is about you. All of it is a confession they'll never say out loud. Machiavelli spent years observing courts full of men who smiled at the prince's face and plotted behind his back. He learned to read the space between someone's words and their actions, and what he found was almost always the same. The loudest critics were usually the most frightened men in the room. They criticized because attacking felt safer than admitting they envied what they were attacking. The next time someone criticizes your calm, ask yourself one question: what would make a person this uncomfortable around someone who is simply at peace? The answer is never about you. It's about the war they're losing inside their own mind. 2. They turn judgment into a weapon. Machiavelli believed most men judge others harshly to disguise their own defects from public view. Think about that for a second. Every harsh judgment is a spotlight, and the person holding it is desperately trying to point it away from themselves. People who cannot forgive themselves rarely forgive anyone else. They hunt for flaws in you because hunting is easier than healing. It takes discipline to fix a broken part of yourself. It takes zero effort to point at someone else's and call it entertainment. Tearing someone else down produces a cheap, temporary illusion of superiority. For a few minutes, criticizing you makes them feel taller. Then the feeling fades, and they need a new target to feel it again. This is the cycle Machiavelli understood better than anyone. Insecurity is a hunger that never stays fed. But a mind at peace with itself has no appetite for humiliating others. You'll notice this the moment you meet someone genuinely secure. They don't need to comment on your weight, your choices, your relationships, or your career. They're too busy building their own life to audit yours. Machiavelli's rule stands firm. The insecure disguise their war within as judgment of others. 3. Your rise becomes their enemy. Machiavelli observed something brutal about human nature. Men will smile at your ambition until the very moment it becomes real. Support during the dreaming phase is cheap. Anyone can cheer for fantasy, because a fantasy poses no threat. The moment your dream becomes a paycheck, a promotion, a launched business, a finished degree, that's when the applause quietly stops. They will applaud the dream. They will resent the result. Your success becomes a quiet indictment of every risk they were too afraid to take. This is the Machiavellian paradox of loyalty. Support is easy when you're losing and rare when you're winning. He wrote extensively about how fortune favors the bold, and how the crowd only loves the bold after they've already won. Never, while the outcome is still uncertain. But there's a darker layer underneath that. Some people don't just withhold support, they actively root against you, because your win becomes proof that their excuses were just excuses. The bitterness of the unhealed always finds a new target, and lately, that target has been you. Watch how they react the next time something good happens to you. Watch the pause before the congratulations. Watch how quickly the conversation shifts back to them. That pause tells you everything Machiavelli already knew about human nature. 4. They weaponize whispers. Machiavelli taught that reputation is a form of power, and those who cannot build their own will try to dismantle yours. He understood that in the game of influence, perception often matters more than truth, and the people who cannot earn a good reputation through their own actions will attempt something far easier: damage yours instead, so the gap between you closes without them lifting a finger. Gossip is rarely about you. It's a confession dressed up as commentary. Every rumor someone spreads about your life is really a window into theirs, what they fear, what they envy, what they wish they had the courage to attempt themselves. Destroying someone's image feels far easier than repairing your own. It takes years to build a reputation. It takes one sentence whispered in the right ear to chip away at someone else's. Machiavelli knew this trade-off well. He built an entire philosophy around how fragile perception really is, and how easily it can be manipulated by those willing to play dirty. When people cannot control your life, they attempt to control the story told about it. And a mind that constantly discusses others is a mind actively fleeing from itself. Notice the pattern in people who gossip constantly. They rarely talk about their own goals, their own growth, their own next move. Their entire personality becomes a running commentary on everyone else's life, because building their own has proven too difficult, or too frightening, or simply never occurred to them as an option. Machiavelli himself was no stranger to being the subject of whispers. His enemies spread rumors about his character long after his death, twisting his name into a synonym for cruelty he never actually preached. Ironically, he predicted exactly this. He knew that once your name becomes valuable enough, people will attempt to rewrite it in their own words, because they cannot compete with the original. The same happens to you on a smaller scale. The more your life improves, the more your name gets mentioned in rooms you were never invited into. Let it happen. A story told by someone who resents you was never going to be accurate anyway. 5. Your boundaries offend them. To Machiavelli, boundaries were not cruelty, they were strategy. A ruler who cannot say no eventually rules nothing at all. He believed that mercy without limits becomes weakness, and weakness invites exploitation. The same rule applies to your personal life. Every yes you give without hesitation trains the people around you to expect that yes forever, and the day you finally say no, they treat it like betrayal. People who once profited from your silence will call your voice attitude the moment you use it. because your limits remove their leverage. Think about who gets the angriest when you set a boundary. It's rarely strangers. It's almost always the people who benefited most from you having none. And nothing enrages a manipulator faster than losing control they never had the right to hold. Machiavelli warned rulers constantly about the danger of being too accommodating, how generosity, unchecked, eventually gets mistaken for an obligation rather than a gift. People stop being grateful for your patience and start demanding it as a baseline. Self-respect is offensive only to those who required your lack of it. The moment you reclaim your boundaries, you'll find out exactly who valued you and who simply valued what you allowed them to take. 6. They are addicted to approval. Machiavelli warned that a man who depends entirely on the opinion of others will always be ruled by them. This might be his most modern insight, even though he wrote it centuries before social media turned validation into a full-time occupation. He understood that a person who needs constant approval hands their emotional stability over to whoever happens to be watching. People addicted to validation cannot stand to be near someone who no longer needs it. Your quiet self-approval terrifies them, because confidence that isn't fed by applause cannot be controlled by the withholding of it. Think about that mechanism for a second. If someone's confidence depends on your praise, they can be manipulated, starve them of praise, and they shrink. But if your confidence is generated internally, no one holds that lever anymore. And people who are used to holding levers over others get deeply uncomfortable when a lever disappears. They chase approval like currency. You've stopped spending your peace to buy their applause, and they resent you for closing the transaction. Machiavelli's rulers understood that dependency is a form of control. The less you need someone's approval, the less control that person has over your behavior, and the less power-hungry, insecure people have over you, the more unsettled they become. 7. They try to shrink you. Machiavelli's sharpest insight may be this: the fearful attack first, hoping to strike before they can be struck. He believed that fear, left unchecked, becomes aggression. People who feel small will often try to make you feel small first, not out of strategy, but out of instinct. It's a defense mechanism disguised as an insult. Insults, mockery, backhanded comments about your goals, these are not judgments of your character. They are confessions of their own powerlessness. They hope doubt creeps back into your mind, so their own doubt feels less lonely. Misery doesn't just love company, it recruits it. If they can convince you to doubt yourself, your doubt becomes proof that their own doubt was justified all along. But here is the Machiavellian reversal. The moment the whole game changes, the second you stop taking their opinion seriously, their entire strategy collapses. Their power was never real. It was borrowed from your attention. Machiavelli knew that influence only works when the other person grants permission for it to work. Withdraw the permission, and the influence disappears with it. This is the single most powerful shift you can make. Not fighting them, not proving them wrong, simply refusing to hand them the attention their entire strategy depends on. The Machiavellian test here is how you separate real enemies from projected insecurity, a test Machiavelli himself might have approved of. Ask yourself, did this person's resentment start after you did something to them? Or did it start after something good happened to you? If it's the first, you may owe someone a conversation. Machiavelli believed in accountability. A wise ruler examines his own actions before blaming the crowd. But if it's the second, there is nothing to fix. There is no apology that will satisfy a person whose real problem is watching you outgrow them. You could shrink yourself in half and it still wouldn't be enough, because the issue was never your size. It was their mirror. This distinction matters more than people realize. Chasing forgiveness from someone who resents your growth is like negotiating with a storm. It doesn't respond to reason, only to time and distance. The final Machiavellian truth: not everyone who resents you has ever truly known you. Some people are only capable of projecting their private war onto the nearest innocent target, and lately, that target has been you. Machiavelli never promised the world would be fair. He promised something more useful: the world would be understandable. Once you stopped expecting kindness from people who were never equipped to give it, the strongest people in history were rarely the most loved. They were simply the least controllable. And sometimes people resent you for the exact same reason your light makes their shadows impossible to ignore. You cannot govern how a fragile mind perceives your strength. Some will misread your calm as arrogance, your boundaries as cruelty, your peace as a personal insult, because they are still losing a war inside themselves that has nothing to do with you. This is the part most people miss about Machiavellian thinking. It was never really about manipulation for its own sake. It was about clarity, seeing human behavior exactly as it is, without the comforting lie that everyone means well. Once you see it clearly, you stop taking it personally. You stop bleeding energy trying to earn approval from people who were never going to give it honestly in the first place. So guard your energy the way a ruler guards his throne. Protect your composure. Protect your boundaries. Protect your peace. And never shrink yourself to make an unhealed mind comfortable. Because the moment you do, you've handed away the exact thing Machiavelli spent his entire life studying: power. Not power over others, power over yourself. He wrote his most famous work not to teach cruelty, but to strip away the illusion that people act from purely noble motives. Once you accept that some resentment has nothing to do with your character and everything to do with someone else's unfinished war, you stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start asking a better question: why am I still giving this person my attention? That single shift from self-blame to self-observation is the most Machiavellian move you will ever make. Not manipulation, not cruelty, simply refusing to be governed by opinions that were never rooted in truth to begin with. The prince who understood his enemies best was never the one who fought the loudest. He was the one who stopped flinching. If this truth landed the way Machiavelli intended it to, hit like on this video, comment "I rule my peace" below, and subscribe to the channel for more cold, calculated psychological truths, the kind Machiavelli would have written himself if he had a camera instead of a pen.